all of a sudden the power goes out, and I'm like, oh no, what's going on? I got really nervous. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Oh my goodness. I was like, oh my goodness.
Over the headset, I'm like, guys, do we have power? Do we have power?
Standby program. Cameras rolling. Faded audio.
I serve a God of miracles.
We want to welcome you to Behind the Signs, where you get a closer look at everything that the Holy Spirit is doing across the nations of the earth. Today I have a very special guest, my friend, my younger brother, Remedios. Thank you so much for being with us here today.
It's a pleasure to be here with you, Mauricio.
It's such a blessing to have seen you just mature and grow into all the things that God has for you. And He's just beginning with you. You've started with Shake the Nations Ministries as an intern. Now you're leading the media team as our media director. Talk to us a little bit about that whole transition.
Well, just to go back to 2017, I got all these words, change is coming, all these transitions are coming, yada, yada, yada. And my father's a pastor in Louisiana, and my mother is as well. And I always would tell my parents, I'm never leaving you guys, you know. But it's funny how in the beginning stages of your life, the Lord will start to sow seeds in your life. And then as Evangelist Nathan was talking about earlier on some of these segments, I really liked what he said about, when you see a harvest, there's a seed that's planted in you. Mm-hmm. And it takes time for those things to germinate. It takes time for that. And the Lord will lead you on a journey, as Evangelist Nathan quite often tells us. He'll lead you on a journey. The Lord does. And coming in in 2018, now to fast forward all the way to 2023, it's almost 6 years. In January, it'll be 6 years that I've been here.
Wow.
And it's just
congratulations.
Thank you. And it's really been amazing, just seeing all the personnel that we have here, all the video editors, all the graphic designers. It's just a privilege to be a part of the team.
That is amazing. And you mentioned something so interesting. You talked about a seed. When a seed is planted, it'll bear forth that tree, and the tree will bear forth fruit. But the interesting part is that the fruit is not for the tree itself, but it's for somebody else. And I think that that's your life story as well. God has taken you through different seasons. You're yielding fruit, but that fruit is for the multitudes. We're gonna see a highlight video of El Salvador, and we're gonna see how the Holy Spirit is moving in the nation of El Salvador.
This is the light of Jesus in your life.
So let me pause it there for a moment.
Yeah, I want to stop you there. So Jenny, one of the editors here at Shake the Nations, and Lucas, also one of the other video editors, they go through hours of footage, hours of footage. I give them so much kudos because they've got to go sit there. They'll fast forward the video footage, and they'll either have some type of music in the background, some instrumental jazz or whatever it is they listen to. They'll just hit fast forward, and they'll just go through and they'll watch all the footage and find the best moments. So I got to give kudos to Jenny. This is Jenny's first little mini highlight type thing. And I remember, just to kind of say, I don't know how I'm going to respond right now in this reaction video, but I literally started crying.
Wow,
it was just, it really brought me a lot of joy because it was a very proud moment because, she edits the Desire of All Nations program. And I remember watching this, and it was like, God really does put people in the exact places, in the exact positions to be where they're at. And it was really beautiful to me because seeing Lucas and seeing Jenny take all this footage in the archive, we call it the archive process, right? And so we go and we have all these nice clips. They've curated all the clips that they put in this thing, in this edit that you're about to see. And it's just, this moment in particular, as you'll see, everyone's got their cell phone lights out, but there's a reason for that a little bit later, as we'll see. But yeah, go ahead.
Let's continue watching. But I love the fact that you are able to reproduce yourself in others. The DNA that you carry, now that's being transmitted to somebody else. And that continues, and that's what it's about. The legacy of what we do as a ministry is not just for ourselves, but it's for those who God is raising up. And let's see this video, because I want them to know what really happened. Why does everybody have their lights out on their cell phone?
No matter how dark the world, Jesus said,
it's just how the Lord just is touching them in this moment.
If I can pause it right there, just talk to us a little bit about what happened, because you're at a stadium and it's dark everywhere. Was that on purpose? Did you guys do that on purpose?
No, not at all. So Evangelist Nathan had I believe he had a dream of some sort that he was like wanting everybody in the stadium to turn on their lights on their phone.
Okay.
Well, he's like, I don't know how I'm gonna get that to happen, but okay. Well, we're in Chalatenango, El Salvador.
All right.
And this is what most people, as you're very well aware, talking to the pastors and all the people there, they were saying, oh, this is laughable that you want to do it in that part of El Salvador. Why?
Yeah.
That's a witchcraft stronghold, all the different things, and no one goes there. It's a very dark city. And so I remember, waking up 6 o'clock, getting ready, getting all the guys ready to go. And we'd leave the hotel at 7:30 to be there for 9:30 call time, and just coordinating with all the different people. Well, we found out that in there, toward the end, this is toward the end of the second night, I believe, and all of a sudden the power goes out, and I'm like, oh no, what's going on?
Yeah.
Because we're running off of a generator, and I'm like, did the generator go? I don't know what's going on. And I'm like, I still see my LED screen going, I still see our cameras rolling, I still see all the things still going. But then I realized, wait a second, the stadium lights were not on the generator, so they were part of the main electrical grid. And so basically there was some issues, some overload in the system, because the lights and all the things. And mind you, there were about probably, 25,000-ish or so people there, 18,000, 20,000 people there. And in that part of El Salvador, in Chalatenango, I don't think most people had seen an event like that, and so what was really funny about that was the lights go out, the power grid is just overloaded, all the things, and our cameras are just so great and sophisticated that they're able to still capture everything that we needed to have. In there, where you see those two big lights there, where in front of that catwalk where Evangelist Nathan's at, that's where I'm normally stationed at, alongside alongside the audio and the lighting people as well. And when we go live, streaming to the different across the nations of the world, when we do that, I'll have that person there and say, hey, can you go ahead and start switching for me, because I got really nervous. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Oh my goodness.
I was like,
oh my goodness.
Over the headset, I'm like, guys, do we have power? Do we have power? And all of a sudden, I just sensed a peace from the Lord that came over me. It was awesome. But
that is amazing. That is amazing. I'm gonna continue playing it, but I want you to think about something. As the video is going, the power of God is coming down, but it's a very special moment, and I believe it's a prophetic moment, because what that meant for that region, you said it, it was a region where it was full of witchcraft, sorcery. There's not a lot of churches in that region, yet God gave us the mandate. We have to do a gospel crusade in this region. And it was interesting because at the end of that crusade, several pastors came to me and they were like, that were not part of the organization. And they were like, you guys did amazing turning off the power to present that moment. And I chuckled. I'm like, listen, we didn't do that. The power went out. And we were laughing about it. But for me, it was a prophetic word, a prophetic declaration. Because in the most dark moments, the light of Jesus will always shine. Talk to me what it means for you. You're still a young man. Very young and very good looking, I may add.
Appreciate it.
But what does it mean for the light of Jesus to reach a generation when we're living in dark, morbid times?
Wow, I'm not so sure I can answer that with the lot of time we have, but I would say it's most important because as the darker the night gets, the brighter the light must show in our lives. And there's a clear line in the sand, in this generation. Whereas in the past, you might be able to get away with certain things, but as diabolical as the spirit of the age is becoming, the more hungry and the more desperate we must be for the things of God, And so, church as normal isn't going to cut it anymore. The programs aren't going to cut it anymore. So it's going to take people that are humbling themselves, falling on their face, turning from their wicked ways, and he will heal our land.
That's right. That's right. That is such a powerful statement. Let's continue watching to the end, because I want to get to a certain point in the video and I want to get your reaction and what you think about this moment. See, that right there, what Evangelist Nathan is saying.
That jib shot there tells everything. Yeah. That's awesome. And our guy Mark, who's with us for some time, he would be on the stage getting all those shots. Really cool. Crying out.
That's right. That's right.
It's awesome.
To your village, to your home.
Wow.
And the light of Jesus.
I just want to go back
like never before.
See our photographer Dustin in the background getting an epic shot.
Of the Holy Spirit falls on you now.
Yeah.
So I want to finish with this, and real quick. Evangelist Nathan said, we prophesied the light of Jesus, not only to Chalatenango, but to a whole nation. What does it mean, what God has gifted you with? You're a modern day scribe. What you take, you're telling a story. And it's not only touching El Salvador, but literally the nations of the earth are hearing the gospel by what you're doing and what God has gifted you in. What does that mean for you?
Well, as Evangelist Nathan would say, as he was a young man starting to walk with the Lord, he would see the harvest, he would see the multitudes, he would see the one, right?
That's right.
As he would say so eloquently. But in this, I've shared with you many times, and I'm sure I've shared on past segments, that this was something that was on the inside of me. Amen. That was deposited.
That's right.
And it's such a surreal thing that when you surrender your life, when you surrender your plans, you surrender all the things to the Lord, it begins to germinate, as we talked about with the seed. It begins to germinate on the inside of you, and that, like you said, that fruit will bear fruit for others to be able to see, not just in Chalatenango, but in Nicaragua, but in Cuba and Argentina and all the different various places in the world.
Amen. Because
when we yield ourselves, when we yield our lives to the Lord, it's generational impact.
That's powerful. That is powerful. As we yield to the Holy Spirit will use us as conduits to touch a generation. Until next time, this has been Behind the Signs.
We want to thank you for watching. If you want to know more about Shake the Nations Ministries and our YouTube channel, why don't you click the subscribe button? Also, if you want notifications of our brand new videos, why don't you click the bell? There's so much more in Shake the Nations Ministries that you can get involved in. Why don't you click also the link to our website to find out more?
To find out more about our humanitarian arm, Hope of All Nations, make sure you click the Hope of All Nations button, where you can learn about us taking the gospel to thousands of children around the world and our work in the ground of the nation of Honduras.
We can't wait to see you next time.